I recently got the awesome opportunity to chat with Lexie. She is pretty much the pilot for Airspeeder at the moment, and I'm actually going to be competing against her in the Celeros Challenge a little later next week. So it's an awesome little chat. We got to talk about the parallels between what I do on the ground and what she does in the sky, and all the things that go along with bringing a car up into the air and going racing. It's an awesome interview. I think you guys are really going to enjoy it, and hopefully I can see an Airspeeder race in the near future.
All
Not
right.
soon.
So yeah, just tell me a little bit about you, what you do. We're on two sort of separate sides of motorsport, so it's going to be
A
pretty
little
cool.
bit.
So just tell me a little bit about yourself.
Okay, so hi, my name is Lexie Jensen, aka Mayon High, and I'm first and only, as far as I know, electric flying car racing pilot. It's a mouthful.
Awesome. Yeah, so I'm Ellis. I'm an electric racing car driver, so I stay on the ground, but we're
Be
both
safer.
sort of in the electric side of things. And even though one of us is in the air, one of us is on the ground, we're still competing in vehicles. I'm gonna definitely stay on the ground for the time being, but I still think the whole air speeder thing is really, really cool. Um, I know that for racing, it's sort of a legacy sport. We're getting into it is either you have a dad that's a billionaire that can buy the team, or you have racing parents that have been in Formula One since they were kids. So I got into it through rental karting and sim racing. So when it comes to flying race cars, is it any different? Like, what's the pathway been so far?
So for me, Pathway has came from drone racing. So we have those little drones. They are like 5 inch, like this big. And I was actually contacted by Airspeeder to join their team. But currently we're working on a game called Celeros. It's a simulator, and from there you will be able to first play the game, then join some championship, and then you can get handpicked by some people to join Airspeeder and Exa Series, which is remote, and then get into the actual crewed aircraft, which is absolutely amazing. And I think it actually makes the whole journey a little bit more accessible for absolutely everyone, because you don't need the dad who has a team. I don't have that, you don't have that. So there is a way of getting into it, and this is one of the things that makes it absolutely amazing, because we want to make it as accessible and as equal as possible as a sport, as everything, and especially that it's a brand new thing. It's gonna be much different, because I remember when I was a kid, I asked my dad, hey, why are there no girls in Formula One? And my dad just looked at me and said, well, you're gonna put yourself in there, so then there are. So
Awesome.
here we're starting with girls and boys, so we're trying to show equality from day one, so it's great.
Yeah, I think the whole accessibility thing with electric has been even in the car racing side where it's been a legacy sport for a long time. It's been the same since the beginning. So now that we're seeing a little bit of change is awesome.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
I mean this is sort of a dumb question, but what is the most exciting part? I mean, flying cars is already super exciting. I mean, I see, it's all everyone talked about, in the 2010s of the future is that we're going to have flying cars. So now that we're racing these flying vehicles, what's the most exciting part for you so far?
I think just setting up something new is absolutely amazing. And sometimes we do make mistakes. We have a lot of crashes and things like this, but it's all a part of something bigger than us. So that's the most exciting thing for me. How is it for you?
Yeah, it's great. I mean, I'm a competition person. I get it from my mom. I'm extremely competitive. So,
We need to
uh,
win.
the
Good
exciting
that I'm
thing,
not
yeah,
against you.
exactly. The exciting thing for me is to have equal materials and that, there's no guesswork anymore with electric is that everyone's in the same car. No one's paying
Mm,
more for more performance. So to have the like peace of mind that if you're first, you're first. If you're in the mid pack, then you're in the mid pack. That's sort of
that's amazing.
exciting because now that we have that equality with the materials and on the tech side, I think it's really cool that we can have that parity between everything. But
That's
with excitement,
amazing.
there's lots of challenges. So I'm sure with something even more new than, I thought electric motorsport was new. Now we're taking it to the sky. What's been like the biggest challenge with something completely different from the norm?
Well, so our biggest challenge right now is to make a good rule set. And it's gonna be a process because, you know, how do you start? Is it staggered? Is it in line? How do we start? What is the pole position actually doing for us? Our first race has actually been set in a way in which pole position starts first, and then 5 seconds later, the second person starts. And at those 5 seconds, there is a video of the guy who was making the rules. He said, that was a mistake. So it happens right away. I
Yeah.
think the most challenging is just to kind of adjust yourself to the rules that we are changing over and over and over again through experience and through starting something new. Yeah, so those 5 seconds, totally a mistake. If there would be more of us, you would just have people flying in line because we cannot catch up. It's too fast. It just cannot happen. 5 seconds
Yeah.
is a long time.
Yeah.
And you can like maybe catch up free, and it's like, well, this is the situation.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was a mistake. I think that's the most challenging part for now. How is it for you actually? So everyone has the same type of a car. So what is the most challenging for you? Just training?
I mean, I think it's when it comes to the car side, is it's there you have to be a lot more picky with what you do. So when you have less things to work with, you know, with combustion, you have the engine side that there's a lot of time to be gained there. Now we only have the chassis because everything is so closed in with all these new championships. So the setup knowledge and pretty much everyone's starting from scratch. So when we showed up to testing for the Next Gen Cup, you know, a few weeks ago, everyone had zero knowledge of what to expect, which is a challenge, but it's also great because now it sort of levels the playing field. And I think for me as an American in Europe, I've had never been to any of these tracks, especially in Sweden. So that's going to be number one. Where next week we go off, we have 1 20-minute practice to learn the track, and then we're right into qualifying. So it's these kids have raced at these tracks pretty much, you know, for the past year and a half in their other championships. But that being said, I think, you know, the car is good to drive, so we're gonna have a lot of fun. But I'd say for me, the biggest challenge is just the tech and trying to find new ways to get performance.
Do you have any type of a simulator in which you can land the track?
Yeah, I have it on the sim, and it's really funny because like it's all these Sweden tracks are all in the middle of nowhere. So like a lot of sims, 90% of them, it's not on there. So then you find like some random from like 2012 and it's really low quality, but it's just to learn the layout. So there's a little bit of work to do on the sim, but I just go full send, deal with the car when it gets into the corner, and we're good. So
cool.
I think
that's fun.
Something I would love to do in the future is to switch sports for a day. I think it would be an interesting challenge. I think I would have a lot more of a difficult time than you would to jump in a race car. So what do you think from your side is the biggest advice from the stuff that you've done so far of what I would have to expect?
Slow is fast. For real. The smoother you go, the faster you're actually gonna be able to go because all of the gates are somewhere in the air, and if you can take them really tight, you will be faster than a person who goes really fast and overshoots them a little bit, because we're still working with gates. So yeah, slow is fast, and I know it's counterintuitive, but it's absolutely a thing. What would you tell to me?
I mean, it's the exact same advice: is slow is fast, especially with electric. Like the cars are heavier, so it's really down to, you know, being smooth. All the inputs, you know, turn in once, and then that's, you know, you don't want a lot of corrections. But I think it would be a really big struggle of I'm so used to feeling the tires connected to the road, and that's my limit of, you know, what's happening, to then all of a sudden being up in the air where, you know, it's a completely 180 flip of how it feels to be going, you know, on the limit and over it. So
I think the scariest thing is when someone overtakes you from above and then all of a sudden they just drop in front of you. Like this would not happen in any other sport. You just all of a sudden there's someone dropping.
I know.
Like,
I'm used
oh
to,
my God.
When I have to defend, I just go left and right. I'm not used to having to go up, down. Like it would be, it would definitely
that would be a little bit too much.
Yeah.
But speaking of which, that gets us to the metaverse games, like Celeros. So maybe you can just, you know, train it and then kind of get more used to it.
I know. I'm excited.
This?
The fact that Bruno Senna is involved as a racing fan, you know, Ayrton Senna was my hero. So to be able that at some point, if I can race him in the metaverse, to say that hopefully I beat a Senna, I would be content. I'd be able to retire. But I think that with the metaverse games like the Celeros Academy, as a pathway, not only to bring drivers up, but to just get the public interested. I think having that involvement as opposed to just watching, to be able to feel like, you're doing the same thing that the pros are doing. It's the same as the racing sims. I think it's going to be a really big step to bring a wider audience in, my generation, our generation. They're gamers at heart. All the young kids that are on their iPads and Xboxes right now, I think it's going to be really cool.
Oh, absolutely. And yeah, you can beat the Senna. That would be really hilarious if you could pick like who you want to fly against, and you just put all of the Airspeeder pilots in and you're like, okay, I'm after you now.
We need to have like the race at home challenge into the Formula E, where we pick some, there's the qualifying where you set a time, and then the top 10 drivers, there's 10 of the esports guys versus 10 of the pro pilots. I think it would be pretty cool.
That's
But
cool. Yeah.
as someone in racing where things go wrong quite often, whether you're losing positions, whether, in testing you've been it off, what do you do when you're flying through the air and there's a technical problem, a problem with, say, the circuit? We've had racing tracks at night where the lights turn off and then you're in the darkness. So a lot can happen, and probably a lot more than being on the ground. So what's like the thought process that goes into when things start to go wrong?
So we have a lot of procedures like in aviation. If we lose vision all of a sudden, we just inform our people that we lost vision and we click a switch. So the aircraft comes back to where it came from. Basically, it has a return to home like a drone. But there's a lot of things that are sometimes going wrong, and then you have to think really fast. And yes, we do have a lot of stuff that we need to learn, like if this happens you do this, if this other thing happens you do that. But sometimes there's the things that you haven't really thought of. Like last time on a race, it turned out that my gates were not on 15 meters up, they were on 5, and I could not see that I was so low. So what happened is that I lost control over the aircraft and we actually flipped it. So that was a lot of really stressful situations, but we do believe in no blame. So we just went through the entire thing. I got special help. I got, talked to by professional, because that was really, really stressful for me. I may have cried. But it's a lot of stress. I think you understand that a lot of times we're under so much stress and pressure that sometimes something goes wrong and it's not your fault and you just lose it and you just sit there like, what happened to me is I cried and someone brought me a cake.
Yeah, I think, with racing, like, it's such a funny sport that in one way it's such a solo event. Like when you're actually doing it, it's just you and the person that's on the radio. But there's such a big team behind it, and especially with this new technology, is everyone works so hard that when you as a driver you crash or you have an off or whatever, it's definitely heartbreaking, because you watch the work that they put in is now crashed. But I think when it comes to come to home button on the drone, there are plenty of drivers out there that I'm sure mechanics wish they could do on the racing car. If their driver was just acting like a fool and they could press a button and the car drove itself back to the pits, I think that would be perfect, because the amount of karting mechanics and racing mechanics I've seen that they're out there like, I wish he would just come in so we could talk to him and tell him what he's doing. So I think we need to implement that on the racing car for sure. I think it would be pretty funny.
I've actually heard about not remotely controlled, like autonomous racing cars.
Yeah, Robo Race. They were out for a while.
If they're out, then that means they can do it. Not putting ideas into anyone's head, but hey, guys.
we just need what they have in the rental carts, where you can hit a button and it slows everyone down. So if we're having a bad race, everyone's acting like fools, crashing into each other, the race director can just hit a button and all of a sudden we're going 10Ks, and they're like on all of our radios telling us, hey, get it together. But I think the whole challenge.
Be hilarious.
That would be. I think we'd have a lot of angry drivers, but I think for the spectacle, it would be pretty funny. But when it comes to the side of when things do go wrong, it is definitely a hard thing to get through as the one that is in the aircraft or the car where the stuff is happening. And I think when it comes to advice for anyone that wants to get into this sort of thing, my advice is to just do what you can, small steps are big steps in this world. So when it comes to my side, rental go-karts, local karting events, that is the best way. Just get your hands dirty, get into it, get curious, sim racing as well. It's the easiest. It's the lowest entry because you can click a button and you're in Italy, Spain, the USA. It doesn't matter. You can drive wherever you want, whenever you want. So be curious, get excited, and if there's any local events, just go hang out. There's plenty of teams, I'm sure, with Airspeeder. Once things start to pick up, they'll have no problem showing you around and getting a few photos. So when it comes to for you, when it's, this isn't something I have a ton of knowledge about, I'm still learning. I should probably take another trip through the academy myself. But for Airspeeder, what's your advice for someone that, maybe wants to take their career to the sky?
I would say one, take care of yourself as your body and mind, because with the Airspeeder, the thing is that it's not only if you're gonna be sitting on a simulator and you're gonna get the best time. Sometimes it may be that you will not be picked even as the person that has the best time, but because someone else has it better mentally or better physically. Because the more healthy the body is, the better the head. And if you do a lot of meditation, or you really can control your nerves and everything, because we're working within like 3-dimensional world, and it's going to be a lot of stress, a lot of really quick reaction time and things like this is something that simulator itself or flying itself won't get you. This is something that you also need to work on. So I would say take care of yourself, take care of your body, take care of what you are eating, and also take care of your training. It's going to take a lot of time, a lot of experience, and a lot of muscle memory, but you can absolutely get there. And yeah, start with Celeros, start with the sim, start with something you can get, because I don't think there's a situation right now in which you can get yourself an Airspeeder, but maybe soon. But it's a start, and it's something that you can totally train with. And if you want to have more in-life experience, you can build yourself an FPV drone, and that's also gonna help you out a lot.
Yeah, I mean, it's the same for me. I have RC cars, so it's the same thing, I'm
Yeah,
sure,
RC
with
cars are
Airspeeder with
great.
drones. So it's just on a smaller scale. But
Exactly, yeah.
yeah, I think it was awesome to get to know like both sides, and I think we definitely have to organize a race between an electric race car and an Airspeeder
I
at
would
some
love
point.
that. I wanted to
That
actually
would
propose it
be
to you like right away.
that would be quite the spectacle to have, going ahead. I think when it comes to the straight line speed, you guys will probably be gone. But I think, we might have a shot with some of the technical sections, but
Probably, yeah.
it would be quite a race. So
It would be really
where can
great.
we find you online to connect, and any socials or anything?
Yeah, you can find me everywhere as Maion High. It's MAIONHIGH. I'm literally everywhere where you can find me, and I'm posting a lot of stuff from Airspeeder, from general life and training stuff. I'm also teaching people how to fly FPV drones and how to actually train things. So if you're on your way, then I'm a good place to stop.
Awesome. Yep. For me, it's Elysium Racing on Instagram is where we mainly post, and then Ellispezia is on LinkedIn for all the people that want to sponsor us, please. We need to
sponsor us, please.
Yeah,
yes.
exactly. We need to make this happen. We need to have some cool
Absolutely.
stickers on our cars and aircrafts. So
Yes.
thank you for the chat. It was awesome to get to know more about Airspeeder and what's happening. So I mean, I always say I'll see you on track, but I guess I'll see you in the sky for now. So
we can see each other on track. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Perfect. Awesome. Well, it was awesome to talk to you, and yeah, check us out on socials. We're both doing some cool stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you very much.